there, welcome back to this module. Attitude is everything. Attitude is everything. This is part of our leadership series on how to develop a positive mindset, how to develop a frame of mind that supports our growth and productivity in the society. When we talk about attitude being everything, what are we talking about? When we say attitude is everything, what do we mean? To give us a little perspective on what we are talking about when we say attitude is everything, let us take a quick look at a story in the Bible about Moses and the 12 spies. In the Bible, it is said that Moses sent out some group of people to explore the promised land, a land that they were supposed to occupy. When the spies he sent out to check out those lands came back, 10 of the spies were fearful, and they told Moses that the land we saw, yes, it was beautiful. Yes, it had lovely things, but the people that occupied those land, they were giants, and we were like grasshopper in our own eyes. That we were like grasshopper in our own eyes. While those other 10 spies said they were like grasshopper in their own eyes, Joshua and Caleb thought otherwise and said, let us just go immediately. They had a different perspective about themselves. Now, how does this story portray the topic of attitude is everything? Because of the mindsets, because of the attitude of those other spies that said that they were like grasshopper in their own eyes, because of their mindsets, they spread out fear across the camp. They infected every other person with fear, and it made it impossible for them to get into the promised land because of that. Now, when you look at the life we live in, you look at our circumstance, you look at the situations that surround us, and as leaders, as individuals, you discover that the attitude we have about life, about circumstance, about situations, get to control the result that we get. Now, imagine a student who, instead of, let's say the student fails a particular course or didn't perform well as expected, instead of looking at it as a challenge to study more and do more, and that particular student says, well, there's no point. Let me just relax. There's nothing I'll do that will make me to pass this course. Those kind of attitudes are attitudes that leads to failure. Those kind of attitude would definitely produce failure. But on the other hand, if a particular person fails and they said, well, I've not done what is expected or how I expected to perform, but I'm going to work harder, and they commit to doing that. That is having a positive attitude. That is having an attitude that supports growth and development. So before we go on to look at how the power of attitude, it's important that we understand the importance of having a positive attitude, a positive mindset. And just like the story we just looked at, the story of Moses and the 12 spies, and them saying to themselves and to Moses that they were like grasshopper in their own eyes. Now, for most of us, the state of mind that we portray would tend to be the dominant factor that will determine the result that we get in our life. The state of mind we occupy will determine the result that we get. Just like it is said that out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. What you have in your mind would reflect externally. If you find out that you are always, not confident, you are shy, just take a quick look at your attitude. Chances are, take a look at your mindset. Chances are you have this inferior mindset. You're always telling yourself, oh, I'm not that good enough. Okay, this person is better than me. Okay, that thing is like this. Like you're always thinking towards the negative. You are inclined towards the negative thoughts. Now, if you watch your mind, watch how you think, self awareness, you're going to discover that the state of mind you occupy at every time, at every phase, okay, the state of mind you occupy at every phase will go on to determine the result that you get. Another one is mental programming. What is mental programming? Mental programming are ways in which you condition the mind, are ways in which we condition our minds. And how do we do that? To program the mind, it is said that the mind is programmed through what we see, what we hear, and what we say. What we see, what we hear, what we say, and also what we feel. That's how we program the mind. That's how the mind gets the information that is stored up in the mind. Now, the state of mind you occupy is based on what you feed the mind. Now, if, for instance, you're someone who likes to avoid challenges, you're someone who is always shy, you don't like to mingle with people, you're always saying to yourself, oh, I beg, let me just stay my lane. These people, they are too much. I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not this, I'm not that. You discover that those statements, I am not this, tend to reinforce the negative mindset, tend to reinforce that negative part of the mind that will go on to portray that negative attitude or the attitude that is not supportive of your growth. That's why we are always told to watch what we say to ourselves. We should always watch what we hear, control what we hear, control what we see, because these are gateways towards which we program the mind. These are gateways towards which the mind is formed and transformed. So, you need to understand the power of mental programming. The next one is performance results. Our performance results is said that it is directly influenced by our attitude. The results that we get in life are directly influenced by our attitude. Just imagine a student who is given an assignment and they refuse to do the assignment. They say, okay, I'll just wait when it's almost towards 1 week towards submission. I'll just, do the assignment sharp. And on the other hand, you have another student who, after getting the assignment question, they start to tackle the assignment. They start doing it from the first day. Who do you think will get a better result? Who do you think would finish on time and have more time to engage in other activities? For the student that says, okay, I'll just wait towards the dying minute, without considering the fact that dying minute will have other things that will call their attention, will get towards that dying minute and discover that they don't have much time. They have different things calling their attention. Before you know it, they'll be like, oh, I'm overwhelmed, I'm stressed out, and chances are they will not produce the quality, they will not produce quality job, which would then lead to a bad result. So that's why it's important that we understand that for every action, for everything we say yes to, we are saying no to. We already established this in our last module, essentialism, that whatever thing you say yes to, you are saying no to another thing. So you need to understand the power of your choice, the choices you make. That the choices you make tend to control your circumstance. That time you tell yourself that, oh, I'm not going to read now, I'm going to stay on social media, watch funny videos, and just relax. That time you are doing that is taking away moments when you are supposed to study, learn more things, equip yourself so that you can better perform in your schoolwork. So we need to understand that our choices every day, we are making choices, and those choices tend to control our attitude. They tend to control how we perform in our lives. So we need to understand this power of attitude, that the state of mind we occupy, the mental programming, the things we say to ourselves, the things we hear, the things we feel, they go on to control our outcome. And the next is that our performance is directly influenced by our attitude based on the choices we make daily. How do you take control of your attitude? If, for instance, you've not been performing well, you discover that you're not getting the result that you desire or you want, or you've already understood the importance of attitude, that attitude controls everything, and that our attitude or your attitude will determine the result that you get. And right now you are willing to change, you want to do better, you want to perform up to your optimal state, then this part we're going to talk about how you can control your attitude so that you get to perform optimally, you get to perform at your very best. The first one is for you to recognize negative patterns. Recognize negative patterns. It is said that in a typical day, we are bombarded with thousands and millions of information on a daily basis. And to a certain degree, most of us are unaware of this. Most of us are unaware of the informations that are bombarding us on a daily basis. Sometimes you might just be walking and you hear people just saying making bad comments that are not positive, and you think it's just a by the way comment. Or let's say you watch a movie that contains negative content, or you watch something on social media that contains negative content, and they go on to stay in the mind and start to reinforce themselves. Or let's say you went through a certain situation and it didn't come out well, and you start ruminating about negativity. For most times, a lot of people aren't conscious of that, and that is why they tend to perform the opposite. They tend not to perform well as they expected. As students of leadership, as students who are positive about change, we need to understand that our attitude controls everything. Our attitude determines the result that we get. And if we've already established that our attitude determines the result that we get, it's important that we practice self-awareness. It's important that we practice self-awareness. Get to know yourself. How do you get to know yourself? You start by being a guide. You start by being that police person that is always looking out for negative thoughts, looking out for thoughts that are not empowering. That is always looking at the way, always taking note of the way you think, putting your consciousness on your thought pattern. Now, when you identify those negative thoughts, it's important that you switch them up immediately and reinforce those negative thoughts with a more positive thought. The next one is to break limiting beliefs. Break limiting beliefs. Now, just imagine a student who got 1.0 in their CGPA, and they say to themselves, you know what, next semester I'm going to work towards 4.5. That is a very big leap. That's a very big goal. Now, but because let's say they make that statement or they write that goal, like I'm going to make 4.5, then they look at the work that it would take to make that certain goal, or they look at people who have made that goal or who are making that particular goal. Sometimes it can be overwhelming, it can feel intimidating. For most people, they might just say, oh, this thing is not for me, like it's above me, this thing is not for me, I am not this, I am not that. Now, limiting beliefs are those beliefs that don't support our growth. Limiting beliefs are those beliefs that impede our growth and development, that stops an individual from accomplishing their goal. Those are limiting beliefs. Beliefs such as I am not this, I am not capable, I can't do this, it is not for me. All these are limiting beliefs. If we can recognize those limiting beliefs and understand the power they have on our attitude and how they get to control the result that we get, we can start right now to re-engineer those limiting beliefs with more positive beliefs. Because whether we like it or not, we are always going to have limiting beliefs. You're always going to have, this limited mindset. But just like we said, that self-awareness is the key. Getting to recognize these things, getting to recognize the limiting beliefs and changing them to a more positive belief is what will help us to achieve the results, get to explore our potentials, and get to live a more fulfilled life. The next one is to harness self-talk. Harness self-talk. Now, this particular concept aligns with the things we've been talking about thus far. When you recognize negative pattern and recognize your limiting belief, it's important that you reinforce these things with more positive talk, more positive thoughts. Like we said, that life and death are in the power of the tongue. If you speak positivity into your life, it has been shown that what we say to ourselves get to control our mindset. They get to program our mind, and what we think determines the result that we get. Now, if this is so, it is important that we recognize that every time we speak a word, every time we utter a sentence, that we are directly or indirectly controlling the outcome of our life. We are indirectly or directly programming our mind towards a certain way. Now, the question is, the way you're programming your mind, the things you're saying to yourself, are they supportive to your growth? Are they helping you to become a better person? Are they helping you to achieve the result that you would want for yourself? So by the time you recognize that life and death are in the power of the tongue, you start today to proclaim good things upon yourself. You start today to say more positive things about yourself. Because whether you know it or not, or whether you like it or not, what you say to yourself will tend to determine the result that you get. For some people, they'll be like, oh, there's no need. No, you have to start today. Start speaking positive things about yourself. And the last one is practice daily tune-ups. Practice daily tune-ups. Implement regular exercises to maintain positive thinking. Exercises such as meditation, having reflective moments, can help you to become self-aware, can heighten your level of self-awareness so that you can be able to recognize negative patterns, recognize limiting beliefs, and also recognize negative self-talk. Now, this concept of meditation is so powerful that it brings our attention to all these things that we've been unaware of in the past. So that's why it's important that we understand that at every stage, at every phase, we need to have reflective moments. We need to have time where we sit down by ourselves and just examine everything about ourselves, the way we think, the result that we've been getting, and our attitude. To continue, let us take a quick look at some few questions so that we get to take note of our progress in this module. Number one question to answer is, how does your attitude influence the outcomes you experience? How does your attitude influence the outcome you experience? The second question is, what steps can you take today to cultivate a positive mindset? What steps can you take today to cultivate a positive mindset? Now, leave your answer in the comment section below. State your name and other details. Okay. How do you find purpose and passion? It has been shown that the reason why a lot of people have negative attitude or attitude that doesn't support growth and development is because of the lack of purpose, lack of passion for something. Now, when you look at yourself, you look at the result you're getting, you look at the circumstance, chances are the reason why you're behaving that way, you're lazy, you're not putting in your best, you're just lukewarm, you're just there, is because you don't have something driving you. You don't have that sense of purpose. You don't have that passion. You don't have that, that inner spark in you that, okay, this thing I want to do well. This is what I'm gunning for. You don't have a goal that you're working towards. If those things are lacking, if the purpose is lacking, there's no passion, there's no goal, it tends to create mediocrity. It tends to create room for procrastination. So for you to do well, you need to discover your mission, identify your unique contribution to the world. What are you here to do? Why are you studying what you're studying? How important is it to you? You need to define all these things, your mission. You need to define your value. Every day, you need to understand if your actions align with your core beliefs. The next one is to fuel positivity. Let purpose drive optimistic thinking. Then the next one is uncover your calling. It's important that you uncover what you are passionate about, what fuels your goal, what fuels that drive. You need to uncover this. Now, when you take the time to practice the self-meditation we talk about, or self-awareness exercises, get to understand what do you want. What do you want out of life? What would you like to contribute to life? When you start to answer these questions, it tends to ignite a sense of purpose and passion in you. Being proactive, not reactive. Being proactive, not reactive. So many times I hear people say, we're not taught this thing in class. It's supposed to do this. We are supposed to do that. It is easy to put the blame on other people, but not on ourselves. Now, imagine a student that is given an assignment and they wait until the end of the semester before they start to do the assignment, not taking into cognizance of the fact that there are other modules that they will be studying that might also give out assignments. They now wait until the end of the semester before they start doing the assignment. Now, imagine this kind of person or this kind of student. Chances are they are going to be overwhelmed. They are going to be stressed out because when they get to the end of the semester, when other courses start calling in, it would get to that stage where they are overwhelmed because they have so many things they need to do. They have so many other assignments they need to submit. But take, for instance, a student who, after giving an assignment, they go back, they look at that assignment, they start to tackle that assignment gradually. Chances are that particular student will do much better compared to the one that just sits down and waits to the end. This is where you need to anticipate. You need to spot challenges before they emerge. Just like the analogy of the assignment, you need to sit down and look at, okay, what are the impediments? What are the impediments? What are the things that will stop me from finishing this assignment? You look at them and be like, oh, okay, if I don't start now, if I get to the end of the semester, wait, there are going to be so many other assignments. Oh, okay, maybe we don't usually have electricity at this moment. We only have at this moment. So I need to, whenever there's electricity, I need to read. By the time you spot all these challenges, okay, you can start working towards a more positive outcome. because you've already anticipated the challenges that might emerge. And the second one is to plan. Always plan, strategize on how to do better. That's why we say you need to always be proactive, plan, strategize in advance. And the third one is to choose. Select things that are more productive over less productive things. Just like what we talked about in our module on essentialism, where we say quality over quantity, prioritizing doing less but things that are more productive. It's not about being busy. It's not about just trying to do everything. It's all about doing things that are productive, things that will add to your overall goal. You need to start choosing things that would empower you. So that is what it means for you to, do well. You need to be proactive. Then the next one is to protect your space. Protect your space. Protect your mental state. Protect yourself from negativity, from things that will not support you, things that will make you to, become lackadaisical about things. Now, just imagine when you hang out with people who don't like to, let's say, do their assignment. They're always like, let's just relax. Oh, this thing, they're always negative about life. When you hang out with such kind of people, they are definitely going to influence you. So that's why you need to protect your space, protect everything around you that would influence you negatively. Building your support system. Now the truth is, when we look at life, it is unpredictable, and we cannot do things by ourselves. We as humans, generally, we are created to work with people. We are created to, interact with people. Now the question is, the people you are interacting with, the people you surround yourself with, are they empowering you? Are they helping you to become a better person? Are they helping you to define your attitude in such a way that it supports your growth and development? This is what this part of the module is talking about, building your support system. How do you build your support system so that you can get to perform optimally? Like we've already established, attitude is everything. If attitude is everything, it's important that we tailor our attitude in such a way that it supports our growth and development. Now, how do we do that? It starts by looking out for supporting relationships. Now, it is said that the level of success we get to achieve in life would greatly be determined by the relationships we keep, the people we interact with, the people we connect with. In the book Never Eat Alone, it is said that success comes from friendship, comes through humans, comes through people we know. So that's why it's important that we understand that who we hang out with, like the saying goes, birds of the same feather flock together. If you hang around 5 intelligent people, you're going to become the 6th. If you hang out with 5 unintelligent people, you're going to be the 6th. So you need to understand that relationship determines the result that we get. Foster connection that uplift and encourage you. Look out for people who will support you, who will tell you, oh, we can do this, let's do this. Not someone that will say, oh, let's just go and relax, Jare, this thing, you are overdoing this, or you are too sabi. Those kind of people, when you find out that your friend or your friends, they are always like, over sabi, no, do pass yourself, making those kind of statements. Just know that it's high time you say goodbye. It's high time you limit your level of exposure to such kind of friends, because they will not help you to grow. The next one is to look out for positive influences, like we've already established. Surround yourself with optimistic people, people who would help you to grow. The next is for you to eliminate toxicity. People who are toxic, who will not help you to grow. People who are always negative, always talking bad, always seeing the bad out of every circumstance. You need to eliminate yourself from them. You need to distance yourself from such kind of people, because in the end, the way they think would influence your mode of thinking, And when you are influenced negatively, you won't get the desired result that you want. You need to network, build your network, because your network will determine your net worth. Connect with meaningful people, people who are supportive, people that will help you to grow and become better. Now, these are ways for us to build our attitude, to support the attitudinal change, to help us to become better persons. The people you hang out with will greatly determine the result you get. So that's why you need to understand that you need to look out for people who would influence you positively, people who have positive mindset, people who are doing better, people who would support you to grow, who will help you to become a better person, and also eliminate people who are toxic, people who won't support your growth and development, people who are jealous. Stay away from negative people entirely. When you do that, your attitude will change, the way you think will change, and the result you go on to achieve would also change. Embracing change as an opportunity. Now, when we talk about attitude, we talk about change, we talk about all the benefit that can come from developing a positive attitude. Sometimes it can be difficult to understand some of these concepts, but how do we embrace this change as an opportunity? First, we need to understand that we need to release every resistance. Let go of fear towards change. Sometimes we look at what they call sunk cost. Oh, if I change now, it's going to take a lot of work. Oh, I don't think I can do this. No, I don't think you need to release all forms of fear and understand that fears are natural. It is natural to be fearful. But what is not acceptable is for you to succumb to your fear and not take action. The next thing is you need to adopt the whatever it takes attitude. Like, whatever it takes, I will do this thing. Whatever it takes, I must do this thing. Now, when you have this kind of attitude, let's say a student that wants to move from 2 to a 4 grade point, when they say whatever it takes, when they have this whatever it takes kind of attitude, chances are they are going to get that grade they desire and even more, because they have the whatever it takes attitude. And whatever it takes attitude is an attitude that involves commitment, hard work, dedication. Because when you have this whatever it takes attitude, you are always looking for solution. You are always looking for ways to better yourself. So if you're listening to me, I want you to understand that whatever it takes attitude is one of the prerequisites for success. And having the whatever it takes attitude is what will help you to break that limiting beliefs. It's what will help you to go through life being a success. It's what will help you to achieve that thing that you desire for yourself. Another thing is to transform obstacle. Change the way you look at things. Turn challenges into opportunities, because in the end, for every obstacle we face, there's always an opportunity lurking by. For every obstacle we face, there's an opportunity to explore. So instead of seeing every challenge as a dead end, instead of seeing every challenge as something that has come to kill you, something that has come to ruin your life, you need to start asking yourself, what are the opportunity here? What are the opportunity here for me to explore? If you start looking at the opportunities, you develop a positive mindset, and it will help you to become a solution provider. Because the truth is, the world we live in is people who benefit from the world today are people who are preferring solutions constantly. So as leaders and as people who are committed to growth and development, we need to understand that for every opportunity we face, for every challenges we face, for every challenge we face, there is an opportunity lurking by. We need to start exploring that. Now, you need to accelerate growth. We've established that we need to surround ourselves with positive people. We need to practice self-talk, positive self-talk. We need to, consume content that are supportive of our growth. These are ways for us to accelerate growth, for us to change our mindset. So for you to accelerate growth, you need to hang out with people who are positive, consume positive content, expose yourself to positive things. That is, things that will help you to achieve the desired result that you seek for yourself. By the time you do that, you start consuming content that are beneficial, you're going to accelerate your growth and you're going to change your attitude easily. The reason why there are a lot of people are having challenges changing their attitude or changing the result they get is because, in as much as they say, oh, I want to achieve this, I want to be like this, they keep on hanging out with negative people. They keep on hanging out with people who are negative, consuming negative content, surrounding themselves in negative environment. When you do that, success becomes very difficult. But if you want to accelerate your success, you want to accelerate your growth, you need to understand that the people you hang out with, the content you expose yourself to, the environment you situate yourself in will go on to determine the result that you get. Creating your attitude action plan. How do you create your attitude action plan? So this part, we are looking out for the ways you can change your attitude so that it supports your growth. The way you can change your attitude so that it can support your growth. The first one is daily maintenance. We've talked about self-awareness. We've talked about meditation. Now we need to understand. We talked about also the power of our words, the things we say, how they are powerful and they tend to control the outcome, the result that we get. Since we've established all these things, now we need to look at how to create a plan that supports our growth, that changes our attitude in such a way that is positive. We said the first one is daily maintenance, morning affirmation. Speak positive things about yourself. I am able, I can do it, I'm capable. By the time you say these things, it tends to reinforce that part of you that knows within that you can do it. It tends to motivate you, it tends to push you up. Next one is attitudinal check-ins. You need to constantly check your attitude. Is the way you ask yourself, the way I'm acting right now, is it supporting my growth? Is it supporting my development? Is it helping me to become a better person? Is it driving me towards the results that I want to get? Also, every evening, it's important that you sit down and take a good look at the way you've acted that day. Take an audit of the actions, the way you spoke, everything, and look out if they support your growth. If they don't, then you change it. Now, this is what self-awareness is all about, having reflective moments. The next one is emotional health. You need to practice gratitude. There's a research by Martin Seligman on mental health. He said that the people who suffer from depression, the people who suffer from depression, anxiety, usually dwell on the negative. They are always ruminating negativity. That gratitude helps us to become better. Gratitude puts light to our lives. So we need to understand that instead of speaking negativity, that by the time we start being grateful for the things we have, start being grateful for the small results we are given, that is celebrating small wins, and understand that those small wins will lead to bigger wins. By the time we start practicing gratitude, it has a way to influence us positively in such a way that we are productive and we perform at our peak. You need to forgive yourself. Some people, when they make a mistake, they beat themselves. They talk bad. Oh, I'm so clumsy. Oh, I'm so stupid. I cannot be this. They keep on reinforcing that. And by the time they keep on doing this thing, it tends to keep on reinforcing that negative part. And it tends to keep on influencing their attitude in a negative way. So we need to understand the power of forgiveness. Forgiving our past. We all make mistakes and we'll keep on making mistakes. Like no one is devoid of mistakes. Like we all make mistakes. But our ability to forgive our mistakes and move on is what will determine the level of success we get to achieve. The next one is release resentment. Release all resentment. Now the next one is measuring progress. track attitude shifts, self-awareness. You cannot change what you are not aware of, and you cannot progress if you don't know what you are measuring. Whereas this concept, measure what matters, measure what matters. You need to track everything. So by the time you track your attitude, oh, today did I act positively? You take note of this little behavioral change, this little attitude, okay? And when you discover that you are making positive change, you are doing things that naturally you wouldn't want to do, it's important that you celebrate these small wins. Clap for yourself. Tell yourself that you are doing well. Celebrate this small improvement. By the time you start celebrating this small improvement, it tends to increase. There's this thing called compound effect. Those small wins in the end becomes big wins. So we need to understand that concept of celebrating small win. Then creating a legacy. It's all about creating a positive model. Okay, mentors, having people who would help you to grow. Now the truth is, there's this saying that follow who know road. You need to understand that the people you hang out with, okay, a wise man once said that he became great because he sat on the foot, he stood on the shoulder of giants. So we need to understand the value mentors play in our life. Every day we look up to someone, we look up to certain people. The people we look up to, are they empowering to us? Are they helping us to become a better person? Now, by the time you have mentors, you share your journey, you share your challenges to people who are supportive. Like, hey, I've been struggling with this thing. I would like to do better. Chances are they are going to provide you with informations that will help you to grow. They will help you. They will give you feedbacks that will help you to become a better person. So these four things we've mentioned: daily maintenance, emotional health, measuring progress, creating legacies. These are ways you can use. These are action plans to help you develop a more robust and positive attitude so that you get to achieve the result that you've stated for yourself or you desire for yourself. Thank you very much for listening. I appreciate your time and your attention. Now, if you have any questions, feedback, or suggestions, leave them in the comment section below. Okay, thank you for listening. And if you haven't subscribed yet to this channel, do so, because we are going to be putting up more leadership content and content that will help you to grow and become a better person. Thank you for listening once again. Have a wonderful day.